Britain has fallen, with the new Prime Minister Rishi Sunak taking over after Liz Truss, who was only Prime Minister for 45 days. The WEF's coup is complete, some claim. In case you haven't been paying attention, the United Kingdom is into its third Prime Minister in the last 7 weeks. First, Boris Johnson was forced out, then Liz Truss served as PM for 45 days until she too was removed. The shortest serving Prime Minister in British history, that is, Liz Truss, was replaced by Rishi Sunak, WEF member, billionaire, and owner of a shadowy company with a pyramid-shaped office that happens to be working hand in glove with Klaus Schwab's WEF to implement key planks of the globalist agenda. So what has happened in the UK in the last couple of months? In short, the World Economic Forum has pulled off a coup, deposing two sitting prime minister, overriding British democracy, devastating the economy, finally installing their own man, Rishi Sunak. Let's remember, Liz Truss was not elected, and neither was Rishi Sunak. That is, by the people. Now, whoever gets the UK Prime Minister gig will also have their strings pulled by Klaus Schwab. The orders will come from elsewhere. The whole leadership contest to be Prime Minister was simply a charade to give the British public the illusion of democracy and choice. The fact is that the WEF had their man lined up a long time ago in what can only be considered a coup to oust Liz Truss. We had WEF Prime Minister Liz Truss and WEF member Kwasi Kwarteng at the helm, implementing more intended devastation for the UK economy. Then guess who then took over to right the ship? That's right, it was the WEF member Jeremy Hunt. What a coincidence. Then three people entering the fray to become the UK next Prime Minister: Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson, and Penny Mordaunt. Would you be shocked if I told you that all three were also WEF members? Whoever said that democracy was an illusion? And then there is a small matter of the UK government also being an official WEF partner. Yes, they are not just members, they are partners. But to really understand the nature of the crime, we need to delve slightly lighter, deeper. That's what, let's take a look at the runners and riders who were vying to become the UK's next Prime Minister, and especially the members of Parliament who were backing Sunak, Johnson, and Mordaunt. In particular, it is the members of Parliament, the MPs, who have WEF links that are of interest. And I'll tell you up front, you will begin to see the pattern. Nearly all of those who supported Sunak were WEF members. Johnson and Mordaunt only have one each. So who were the WEF members, MPs, who backed Sunak before Johnson and Mordaunt conceded? Dominic Raab, MP for Esther and Walton. Robert Jenrick, MP for Newark. Liam Fox, MP for North Somerset. David Davies, MP for Monmouth. Sajid Javid, MP for Bromsgrove. Matt Hancock, MP for West Suffolk. Tom Tugendhat, MP for Tonbridge and Mowling. Jeremy Hunt, MP for South West Surrey. And Tobias Ellwood, Parliamentary Undersecretary of State. I left Ellwood for last because he's the most deep state of them all. Not only is he a WEF member, but he was deeply involved in the Russiagate plot against Trump from within British intelligence, laundering CIA and FBI spying requests on Trump and his associates. This is illegal under US law, particularly the CIA, but they used the loophole that British intelligence that was shared despite the CIA asking for it in the first place. Ellwood is also a territorial officer in the British Army 77th Brigade, holding the senior rank of Lieutenant Colonel. And for those who are unaware, the 77th Brigade is the PSYOPs organization of the British Armed Forces, which is active in molding opinion on social media, including Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit. So now that you've been introduced to the WEF members who got Sunak into 10 Downing Street as Prime Minister, of course, let's take a closer look at how the events played out. Sunak was certainly quick off the mark in putting his cards on the table. In actual fact, a little bit too quick for some. He seemed to be ahead of the game by a good 6 months. Did Klaus drop him a hint about his glorious future? Back in December 2021, he registered the website for his tilt at the premiership when Johnson was still steering the ship after he got his navigation orders from the World Economic Forum. You could argue that Sunak knew what was coming down the track, and like the Goldman Sachs banker he was in his former life, he was just hedging his bets. Sunak resigned as Chancellor July 5, 2022, citing the differences between himself and Boris Johnson in his resignation letter. On July 8, 2022, he announced his candidacy to replace Johnson in the upcoming Conservative Party leadership election. In a very slick video, Sunak's campaign was up and running in no time. It also did not take him long to change his Twitter profile to Ready for Rishi. Now, where it gets really interesting is when we go down the rabbit hole and ask, Cui bono, or how does he benefit? The short answer is he benefits enormously, and here's why. Whilst in college, Sunak met his wife, Akshata Murthy, the daughter of the Indian billionaire N.R. Narayana Murthy, known as the Indian Bill Gates. Murthy founded Infosys. In August 2009, Akshata Murthy owns a 0.91% stake in Infosys, which is valued at about $900 million as of April 2022. So Sunak's stake, that's about $1 billion. So Sunak's stake, or should I say his wife's stake, is nearly £700 million, or as we said, $900 million as of April 2022. That's a nice chunk of change. Unsurprisingly, Infosys is a member of the World Economic Forum. In their WEF profile, it says Infosys steers clients through their digital journey by enabling them with an artificial intelligence-powered core that helps prioritize the execution of change. They are very closely aligned to the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Wow. Their articles that appear on the WEF site are equally as telling. In December 2022, Infosys president and WEF member Ravi Kumamoto wrote an article called "Business Has a Big Role to play in Vaccinating the World." The other article written by Infosys includes 3 ways to fill worrying cybersecurity gaps, 3 levers for ensuring equitable access to the data economy. Digital identity can help advance inclusive financial services. So these articles alone should be cause for concern. Vaccines, data, and digital identities. Do you see where all this is going? It all ties back to CBDCs and social credit scores yet again. Infosys has been a regular at Davos for years. They even have their own lounge at Davos this year. They also have a questionable office in Bangalore in the shape of a pyramid. The same pyramid appears on the back of a US $1 note. It's a universal symbol appearing all over the globe and denotes a religion that believes in and worships a god but not the God. And it's also part of Israel's Supreme Court. As we see, there's a pyramid in there. And the same symbol at the IRS headquarters in Maryland. And Sinners cites IRS headquarters Maryland. And the art in front of the IRS headquarters featuring pyramids with capstones between 2 pillars, the black and the white stripes referred to the Hermetic concept of duality. So world leaders are also fond of flashing the sign. The reason world leaders flash that sign is the reason it appears so often across the world is that all governments are controlled by their central bank. All central banks are controlled by the BIS, the Central Bank of Central Banks, which is openly called for a CBDC to enslave the world by allowing the BIS to determine in real time how, when, and if, and what you can spend their money on. So conveniently, Rishi Sunak, WF puppet, it seems, is the face of CBDCs. We're getting close to the top of the pyramid now and the root of the control structure. Who controls the BIS and who controls the CBDCs? Many people say it's the Rothschilds. Mayor Amschel Rothschild, the patriarch of the notorious banking clan and founder father of international finance, famously said, quote, "Permit me to issue and control the money of a nation, and I care not who makes its laws," end quote. So with their printed imaginary fiat, central banks control the minds of men and thus all nations. It's been true since their inception and is their raison d'etre. The love of money really is the root of all evil. But it gets worse, it seems, at the top of the pyramid cannot leave anything up to chance, and so instead of relying on just money to corrupt and control politicians, leaders, musicians, pundits, and anyone with a big audience, and thus a wide reach, they turn to methods of control which are horrific to get those influencers under their thumb. Every world leader and most entertainers and youth broadcasters are compromised in this way, meaning they're all doing the bidding of their masters at the top of the pyramid. This bidding equates to corruption and transhumanism, depopulation, slavery for survivors, etc. This is why they're all singing the same songs and enacting the same destructive policies. They want to induce a mental health crisis along with war, famine, pestilence, and death. The entire system is attacking us with the end goal of doing away with most and corrupt and enslaving the rest. Rishi Sunak is as elitist as the next billionaire at Davos with their transhumanist and depopulation agendas. Is that so? According to young Rishi, his friends are all aristocrats and upper class. He does not do working class friends. Klaus Schwab carried out a coup with the WEF, now has complete control over Great Britain. If that's the case, how the mighty have fallen. Is the whole plot starting to come together for you now? Now we know that when Liz Truss resigned, one of the first people that came out and said a coup has taken place in the United Kingdom was Nigel Farage, who explained this. So this is on News Punch by Baxter Dimitri. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.